Idiot Radio, taking it to the edge and back. Scotty,
I'll take Scotty.
Hi, you're listening to Scotty Presents on idiotradio.net. Our executive producer is Todd DeFazio. I'm Scott Israel, and today our special guest is Eric Williams.
Eric, I'm Scott Israel.
Are you sure, Scott?
I am. Things got a little mixed up and out of place today. Wavy Wednesday could not make it, and it's a shame. She's a really interesting and fun person. But I did get Mr. Eric Williams, my supposed voice twin, to come.
It's been alleged before. It's been alleged.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe people will be like, what? He didn't get a guest. He just pretended he was someone else. That son of a bitch.
Well, people do that on radio all the time. That's pretty classic at this point, right?
That makes sense. I mean, people can't see you. That's the thing about being a voice actor. You're just alone in the dark doing whatever you want to. Bah.
Yeah. So I think it was Molly Sherrow was the first one to point out to me that my voice was completely unoriginal.
She said you had a hack voice. Like, that is mean.
Oh, man. Yeah. Oh, that's all right. I can take a ribbing, I guess.
I mean, I guess at that point you should just start learning ASL.
ASL?
Yeah, the American Sign Language. Just sign your jokes to everyone.
Yeah, but then only like a fraction of a % of the audience will know. Nobody will know what I'm saying.
You're killing the deaf community.
It's pretty specialized.
Hey, man, there's a market for everything. Sometimes it's niches that work. But yeah, no, she actually, I came out to Papa Da Vinci's. I have not been there for a while. And she saw me and freaked out. And I was really confused because Molly had never been excited to see me. And she was just like, oh my God, you need to come with me. And I was just like, I don't know what's happening. This is really confusing because I have a girlfriend, she has a boyfriend, and she doesn't smoke pot, so I don't know what this is about.
So what was it about?
She was like, you need to meet Scott Israel because you were outside smoking a cigarette. She was like, both of you talk right now.
Yeah, it was like stereo.
And then she was just like I mean, it was basically a platonic orgasm. Like, she was just absolutely thrilled.
Well, I'm always happy to make someone happy, I guess. You know?
I mean, that's generally the reason that people get on stage and say stupid shit. The idea of making strangers happy and enjoy it to some degree.
Oh yeah, it's great. It's a great feeling. You get up there and make people laugh.
I've done it a few times.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah, I've done it once or twice. It's okay.
I'd say I thoroughly enjoy it. When it goes well, it is fantastic. When it doesn't go well,
yeah, it's still fantastic.
I mean, sometimes the worst times are the best times. You can almost tell, like, how long a comedian's been doing comedy based on their reaction or how much they are enjoying or not enjoying a clusterfuck on stage. like when someone is bombing or just doing a garbage set, the new comedians are normally like, this is horrible. Whereas the guys that have been like 5 years plus or longer are normally like, this is amazing. This is a garbage fire and I am enthralled.
Oh shit! So you think it hurts less after some experience?
I mean, it hurts, but also there becomes if you've seen so much that, I mean, you still like it when you do well and when other people do well, but sometimes it's you've been, think of it like being a race car driver, even the commentator, like at NASCAR or something, you've been watching people go in circles a whole bunch, but when there's a crash, holy shit, are you excited?
Well, sure, but the driver's usually not excited.
I mean, yeah, but at least they're living through this in most cases.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, it would be a real shame if an audience couldn't take a jokes to such a degree that they murdered you.
Yeah, I would say it definitely gets easier as you go because bad sets happen to everyone. Anyone you've ever seen have a stand-up special anywhere or a movie or a TV show, they've bombed at some point hard.
Oh, yeah.
I know a guy started up within Cleveland, Ramon Rivas. He got a Comedy Central 30 past year, I believe.
That's great.
I was there when he was moving to Chicago. He started in Cleveland like a year before me. He was moving to Chicago. He'd been co-hosting this room, Bella Dubbies, with Jim Twos, and there was a going-away room where he got to a going-away show where he got to like close it, and he just bombed.
Oh.
It happened. Like,
yeah, sure, but oh man.
Now he's got a comedy set like that. That's people get upset
yeah.
when they bomb it. It's like those are the sets that you learn from.
Oh, sure. They'll learn the most from.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can learn from a good set for sure. But I don't know. I had a good set last Monday, and I thought I recorded it, and I didn't save it. Yeah, and it was the first time I had ever done the material. It was really risky material, and I killed. And like I'm afraid to do that set now. Like I'm terrified to do that set because if I bomb on this one, like not only are people not going to laugh, but they'll probably be deeply offended if I don't say it just right. And I was so happy because I thought I definitely recorded it. I just forgot to hit save, and my phone is like that. So yeah.
Okay, so not only are we voice twins, but you suffered the curse of Eric Williams.
Oh, is this the sort of thing that happens to you?
Oh, this is like I should actually learn from Phil Forens,
right.
Younger comedian, great guy, just moved out to New York City, but he always records his set. But he's also a responsible person who always has his phone charged.
Yeah.
Like even on the days where I'm like, hey, I'm gonna do it, like my battery will be dead. But over the years, the amount of times, like one time I was at a show with a buddy, I was like, hey, like can you record my set with this camera? He was like, yeah. I went on stage, had a good set, came back. Okay, man, you got that? Oh, I thought you said, could I watch your camera? I was in Johnstown with Zach Funk, Dan Genesis, Eric Croyle, John Pridmore, and John Paul Scanlon some years back, and I did like at least 20 minutes in front of this crowd, like rocked it. Right before my set, Zach asked me to record his set. But I didn't ask him to record my set because Croyle had been recording the whole thing. The memory card ran out of room right before my set.
Of course.
Like, there's just like, and then of course, like, when it actually works, you're like, oh, that was a garbage set.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, that's been my experience entirely. Like, the Improv a couple months ago. I went out. I don't even know why I went there. Maybe I was giving somebody a ride or just going. I don't know. But somebody suggested that I just ask T-Robe to put me on at the end, you know, and I begged him. I was like, just give me 2 minutes at the end, and he was like, yeah, sure. And then he wasn't gonna do it, and then I talked him into it again, and he let me go on, and I killed it for 2 minutes. I went up. As soon as I started talking, they started laughing, and they laughed for 2 minutes. I was like, awesome. I definitely want to do this again. So I get a hold of him, do it the correct way the second time, right? It's like a month before, and I get everything. I even is a bringer thing, and like nobody comes out for me because I'm not from Pittsburgh. So I just
basically living in a different state that's not even Ohio or West Virginia. That's how
yeah,
far away you are.
Yeah, I live in a vacuum where no one cares.
Basically in New York or the moon.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, so, it's Greensburg, but still more Westmoreland County.
Yeah, nobody's driving that far to see me, and I don't know anybody here. So I got a couple of comedians. Let's see. Aaron Douglas brought his girlfriend out for me, and they spent a bunch of money, God knows. So thank you, Aaron Douglas, for coming out to the Improv that night. And then I bombed. I taped the whole thing. He taped it for me, but it was terrible. So I made like a 3-second video that I put on Facebook where I said like one word. So yeah, no, I feel where you're coming from for sure. It's hard. The Phil Florence has it right. You should record every single time, the good ones, the bad ones, and that way you can sift through. It's just.
I mean, you obviously want to get a good video so that you can send it to clubs, send it to bookers, send it to comedy festivals. But on top of that, it's tough, man. It can be grueling. But it's just like professional athletes go over tape and break down. Like doing that with your stuff like helps. Seeing when you see things that work or don't work, what you like, something that you didn't realize you did that actually worked really well. Like, because the constant what? Just being a comedian is basically the Philadelphia 76ers of the past 6 years.
What does that mean?
It's a process. You're going to be really, really, really bad until eventually you draft some good players, and by that I mean have jokes and some rapport.
Yeah, sure. I don't know. I kind of think of comedy as a lot like the dancing bear. Like, it's clumsy, and you're trying to be graceful, and you look silly most of the time. Yeah. All right, I think it's a good spot. You ready for a commercial, Todd?
For all your heating and cooling needs, service, and installation, contact our friends at Complete Comfort Heating and Air Conditioning. 412-513-3001. Doesn't your family deserve complete comfort?
Looking for a DJ for your next party, corporate event, wedding, or special occasion? Contact Rich Who Entertainment, the official DJ of Idiot Radio. For free quote and information, give them a call at 412-266-1266. That's 412-266-1266. Rich Who Entertainment, DJs for all occasions.
You're listening to Idiot Radio, taking it to the edge and back.
Looking for a creative idea for meetings, business lunches, and special events? Call Spiels on Wheels, food truck and catering, and take the stress away. For more information, call them at 724-244-9881 or on Facebook at facebook.com/spielson.wheels.
All right, so you're listening to Scotty Presents on idiotradio.net. I'm your host, Scott Israel. Todd DeFazio is our producer, my producer. And my special guest for today is Eric Williams. Eric, so thank you for coming out, man. I really got a hold of you last minute, and I know you live in the neighborhood, and we were planning to meet up today anyway, so I just kind of was like, well, why not have Eric come?
You got lucky.
I really did. I really did.
Not just was I live in the neighborhood right now.
Yeah.
Right now. If this were 2 weeks from now, I would be living in beautiful Millville, Pennsylvania.
Yeah?
Yep. That's the land of wonderful breweries, Mr. Smalls, and a really high flood risk.
Do they have an above-average flood risk for this area?
They just, this area in general has a flood risk, but yeah, they just got hit a couple of weeks ago when there was flooding all over the area. Luckily, the city got devastated by a flood about a decade ago, and in that decade they've put a lot of effort into making sure that doesn't happen again. So even though North Avenue was like under 4 feet of water, the city as a whole has actually dealt with it really well and was pretty well prepared and has come together to fix things up very quickly. About a decade ago when it got nailed, what happened was there were a number of houses that were destroyed, and the city and regulations were like, you're not allowed to rebuild houses there. You can't. Not allowed.
Really?
So, yep. So you have two options for what you can do with that land. You can either put a parking lot or put in gardens. Now, I was not there for the debate, but I'm sure that there were people that were like, parking lots, definitely parking lots, because in Pittsburgh,
you always
parking
need
lots
more parking, but it's such a heinous, ugly thing to put.
Gardens won out.
Really?
Yes.
All right.
Thankfully, because so here's the thing: parking lots, they allow you to park there, which is like really nice, especially when like you have a wonderful music venue and two great breweries.
Yeah.
But parking lots don't retain water.
Right.
That is not something that they retain cars, not liquid. Gardens don't retain cars, but they retain water. And so because they built Millville actually does a bunch of really, really cool stuff. But on top, they have these community gardens where you can rent for like a low monthly fee, or if you are on an EBT card, I believe you can get one for free.
Really?
But you can rent a little plot and you can grow whatever you want there. But since
that's
they
neat.
very, very cool. But since they had these gardens, they soaked up a lot of water, and things were not nearly as bad this time, despite the fact that you can see video online of a garbage dumpster floating down North Avenue.
Wow.
Like it's just a kayak of garbage.
So when are you moving to Millville?
We have actually signed the lease. Actually, my car is full of apartment stuff right now, and after we finish this interview, assuming it's not raining, I am driving over there to take up 2 bookshelves and a bunch of kitchen stuff.
Wow, this has been like a crazy long day for you today.
Hey, it's been a weird month or two, man.
Yeah,
Like
the summer's been bizarre.
this summer.
Like why? What's going on?
Well, we discussed earlier at the beginning of April, I had a very good friend pass away, and we're in the process of planning a Pittsburgh. Jennifer McGregor, she was absolutely wonderful. And we're planning a Pittsburgh mural for her at Panza Gallery on August 26th. Then about a month and some weeks ago, I got fired from my job at BRGR and called a homophobic slur by the owner because
Yeah.
I wouldn't use whipped cream.
Because you wouldn't use it.
Because
I forget why you wouldn't use the whipped cream. Is it a hot? Yeah. Well, come on, get into it, man. Why wouldn't you use the whipped
So
cream?
I talk about because I have no problem using whipped cream at the restaurant, but I was going to be working at the stand at PNC Park
All right.
alone
Yeah.
in June.
Yeah.
And with a system where when it comes in on the screen, first of all, like there was like a 3-minute delay, so the orders don't pop up on the screen when they should.
Right.
So then the cashiers have to yell back what the order is.
Right.
And then because this year the owner decided that we were going to have whipped cream, but not on all of them, as an option.
Right.
As an option.
So, yeah.
Then they have to yell back whipped or not whipped. When there's a lot of noise, like you just they all
not gonna
sound
hear
like
it.
whipped. Like
Yeah.
so. And again, we're talking like I cranked out 200 shakes the one day, and that was in like April.
Yeah.
This is June.
Right.
We are in the not we. I don't fucking work there anymore because I got fired and called a homophobic slur and physically threatened. But that's a so
wait, how's whipped cream translate to homophobia? All right. Well, maybe you'll get to that. Let's hear it.
it was just so that like kids don't understand the value of money. It was the only place in there that sold milkshakes.
Right.
So I was expecting like hundreds of milkshakes.
Yeah.
There was a whole thing where I had said that I would not work at that location anymore. I was like, I
Right.
will only work at the downtown location.
Right.
And then I got scheduled to work there. But then, like, someone who was scheduled to work at the regular store quit, and I was supposed to, I'd been told by my manager the night before to come into the downtown location.
Yeah.
And then I come in, and they're like, Brian called, and he says he needs you at PNC Park. And I was like, no.
Right.
No. I work at this location. I
Right.
already said, and he came down there and called me up in the office, and he was like, look, I need someone down there. I don't have anyone else. The guy who was supposed to work there, this new guy, fucking idiot. So in order to work at PNC Park, you have to go through this stupid training thing where they just sit you in a boring ass pointless meeting for 4 hours, and they're like,
Right.
"Oh, fill out this paperwork." So we said we did all the basic stuff, and most people sleep through it or play on their phone. Anyways,
Yeah.
the dude showed up 15 minutes late for that, so security wouldn't let him in, and he didn't tell a manager or anyone until the day that he was
right.
scheduled for the shift.
So basically, he had a much better strategy of getting out of working there than you did. He looked at how to really get out of it, and he did. And and he kind of forced you in there. Now keep going with it, man. How's it?
I've talked about this on stage, and I will again. But so the
I mean, if you really don't want to.
No, we're good.
All right, I'm sorry.
The owner was like, I really need someone to work there. Like, I need someone there. And I said, okay, I'll do it. And at this point, like, all the prep time is gone.
Right.
Like we are approaching the game start. Like, because, again, you're selling hundreds of shakes. Like, we've got a freezer. You make, like, at least 50 shakes ahead of time.
Yeah.
Of, like,
Oh, wow.
4 different have them ready, because you could be getting like 20 milkshake orders in 2 minutes. You can't make 20 milkshakes in 2.
That's a lot.
Exactly, and this is why the whipped cream is critical.
Now, do they give you bonus pay in this case?
No. The reason that I was working there and not Aramark staff is because Aramark staff has to be paid $12.50. I was getting paid $9 an hour. That's why he wanted it staffed out of the kitchen. Yup.
All right.
So, I'm like, I'll work there. I was like, I don't have my badge on me because, I wasn't expecting to work there. I was like, so if they try to charge me, I need you to cover that. I was like, and no whipped cream.
Right.
Well, you need to use whipped cream. No, I'm not using it. No, it only takes an extra 2 seconds. You need to use whipped cream. Look, you said you need someone over there, and I'm telling you, these are my terms. No whipped cream. And he said, okay, get the fuck out of my restaurant.
All right.
I was like, okay. I turned around. I'm walking down. I'm about to turn down the stairs. And he says, you're a fucking moron. And you know what? He might be right. But my logic was sound. I stand by my reasoning. Everyone else who worked with me, because I had even said when I told the manager, I was like, I won't work at the location at PNC Park unless you guys get rid of whipped cream. If you get rid of whipped cream, and every person who was like a superior who never worked the position, like looked at me like I was crazy.
Yeah.
But every other person who like actually worked as a shake person was like, oh man, why did you say that before I did? But of course, we've established I wasn't the smartest one. I should have just skipped the Aramark training meeting.
Well, for next time, it's all about strategy and thinking ahead, right?
So, like, I turn around and I'm like, "Excuse me," and then he called me a homophobic slur, and then I told him to fuck himself a bunch, and then he got in my face and said he should throw me down the stairs, and then he tried to invite me to come outside to fight him, and I was like, "No, you're twice my size, and I'm just gonna call the health department." Well, because there were roaches in the kitchen.
It sounds like you're better off without this.
Oh
job.
yeah.
Yeah, so forget those milkshake people. Did you find something out in Millville or something?
No, I just started at the airport.
Oh, that's great. Is that turned into a union job after a couple months?
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah, no, I'm working out there. Actually, there's a number of comedians out there. I just had my second day. I was working with Ray Zawadny yesterday.
Oh, no kidding, yeah.
Yep, I saw Michael Isaki and Johnny Lee Dam the day before. So
a lot of comedians work at the airport.
There's a lot of them there right now. Currently,
great.
Comedians are the cockroach of the airport.
Well, that's good. So if something happens with your bag, at least you know it was funny to somebody. You know.
True, very true. And then I'm moving to Millville. I'm actually doing a show there in Millville at the Panza Gallery on August 31st as a fundraiser for the Millville Community Library, which is really, really cool spot. It recently became it's in the network for the Carnegie Library System, so they are connected. It is a nonprofit library that just got started on its own like a couple years ago.
That's great.
Kids from the neighborhood hang out there all the time. My girlfriend, Sheena Carroll, who's absolutely wonderful and books poetry shows throughout town, she has been working there for the past year as part of an AmeriCorps position. And so that's part of the reason we're doing the fundraiser show for the library.
Right.
Because it works out. But so since they have had AmeriCorps people there for the past 2 years, the previous AmeriCorps person, this lady named Maria, set up a tool library.
Okay.
So the Millville Library has a tool library where you can go and rent like hammers,
All right.
equipment, saws, measuring tape.
Wow.
Like like all sorts. Like really, really cool thing. And they named it after Maria, and she didn't know that was going to happen. There were a lot of tears.
Oh wow.
What my girlfriend has been doing is the one day. Tuesdays, the library is normally closed at 6. It's normally closed on Sundays and Mondays, but Tuesdays it's open till 8 o'clock. So the one Tuesday they were showing a movie for the children, and they went through like 5 like big bowls of popcorn, and like she made a joke like, "Oh, it's like no one's like fed you today," and they're like, "We haven't had anything to eat since lunch."
Oh wow.
Yeah, and she was like, "What?" So Sheena she ended up getting in contact with a local nonprofit. I believe it's 412 Food Rescue.
Right.
And so she has set up a pantry there.
Wow.
So, yeah, there's chips, and they've been getting a bunch of Kind bars donated.
All right.
But there's also for the children in the community, because Millville, despite being a burgeoning area that is across the 40th Street Bridge from Lawrenceville, statistically it is a very impoverished area. And so they now have this tool library so that people who might not be able to afford tools can come and borrow them from the library and do whatever work they might need to be, whether it's just repairing their own house or getting a job. And the kids can get sustenance and food. Like they're doing.
That's great. It's like they turned this library into a community center.
Almost. Like,
yeah, no, it sounds fantastic. I think books is a great place to build a community around knowledge.
Completely
right?
agree. The only thing that disappoints me is that the children there don't want to read.
Oh well, who wants to read? There's the internet and television
exactly.
and
They
the radio.
all go there and they use
yeah.
computers. They play. What's the game that everyone plays?
Oh, I don't know.
Not Half-Life or Counter-Strike. That was like Fortnite. That's it. Todd pops in with the. Yep, that's the one that you can download. It's kind of like those games from the 90s. It's free.
Oh, is it like the one when I was in school? I
almost
played
like Team Classic Fortress.
All right, I played the one where you're like in a covered wagon and you're going the Oregon Trail.
Yeah, nothing like that.
Nothing like that. All right,
nothing
so I have no
like
idea
that
what
at all.
we're talking about. That's all right.
It's like a team play first person shooter that you can download for free.
Oh, all right.
And so the kids are all about it.
People at the library. That's good. no. That's lovely. We can't. All right, no. Who am I to judge these? I played tons of first-person shooters. I mean,
at least they're not watching porn in the library, so that.
Well, yeah. I mean, they can block that. There's no reason that anyone should be looking at porn anywhere in public.
No, but it always happens somewhere in the nation, at least once a year, if not more often. There's always like some
sure
story about some weird person who's now on Megan's list.
Right. Yeah. Well, what are you gonna do? So,
register them.
Can you do that, or don't you have to register? Doesn't the state register?
I mean, yeah, but you get what I mean. Like, it's a group effort by society as a whole.
Societal effort. I love it. So you're all about community building?
I've also the past year I was on the planning board for the Millville Music Festival with Mr. Todd DeFazio was also involved with. I believe you hosted a stage as well. As did I.
He doesn't have a microphone.
He's giving the thumbs up for everyone.
Yes,
and
he's here. He's just doing his own thing.
But for those that are unaware, the Millville Music Festival just had its second annual one, and it is a free music festival that goes on in big surprise here, Millville.
Yeah?
That's
great.
And it got set. Brian Crawford and Sarah Kramer, I believe, are the main people behind it, but there's a whole board of wonderful people. The Mark Panza, who runs the Panza Gallery, is heavily involved. The mayor of Millville was at the meetings. The police chief stops in from time to time, Tom, to give us relevant info. I just kind of sat there and nodded a lot. That was. I think my official job might have been group nodder. Just like, yep, yeah, that sounds good, guys. You keep on doing that. And so that is actually I believe the only music festival in the city that actually pays the musicians.
Really?
Yes. no one's retiring off of what they're, but like
they get
the
something.
whole board works really hard to raise money throughout the year to be able to pay the musicians, and this year there were over 150 performers, I believe.
Wow.
All within 100 miles of Pittsburgh.
That's fantastic. I know it's a big to do every year, and Brian Crawford works really hard on that. I like him. He's a nice guy.
He's a good dude. He
Yeah,
also runs River's Edge Radio, which I know I'm supposed to save my promotions for the end of the show. But
well, you know what, man? If you got stories that go along with it, let's just run with it.
well,
it's fine
Mr.
with me.
Didiano and me are starting up a movie podcast show. And
Are you?
We had the premiere 2 weeks ago,
All
and
right.
this past week he had to endure watching The Equalizer 2 with me because I'm just a horrible person to watch movies with.
What the hell is The Equalizer 2, and
It's
why
the
are you
sequel
so
to
horrible?
The Equalizer.
Yeah, all right. So what was The Equalizer? Like,
That's the movie where Denzel Washington
Oh,
was
all right.
like, hey, remember the role I did on Man on Fire? It's like that, except I'm not an alcoholic. He plays a retired CIA agent who this lady's trying, in the original, she's like trying to get away from the Russian mob, and the Russian mob is like, you can't get away. And Denzel Washington's like, yes, she can. And then he kills the Russian mob. And it was decent. I feel like I was high when I watched it, but I remember being like, yeah, Denzel, you're awesome as usual. The sequel was really good, really, really well paced, bunch of fun, but so I'm a loud person.
yeah, I get that.
And we were discussing earlier how the longer you do comedy, the more warped your perspective can be on. So you laugh at things that normal people are like, why are you laughing? That is not something you should laugh at. You should be crying.
Oh, yeah. No, I get that a lot. I'm weird. I really am.
So essentially in The Equalizer 2, Denzel Washington basically plays the boogeyman for bad guys.
Oh, all right. I like that.
But the thing is also he warns people. He gives them a chance. He's like, you can walk away or I'm just going to ruin your day. And they never walk away.
They never
walk away.
So how does he ruin their day? I've never seen this one.
He beats the shit out of them or kills them.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, the signature scene from the original, which he utilizes again in the sequel, is he comes into a room, sets things up, and then when it's clear that the guys are like going to start violence, he starts his wristwatch and kills them all in like 8 seconds.
That's beautiful.
Like, it's just like crazy efficiency.
Yeah.
Like Dexter would be jealous. But so there are numerous scenes there where like Denzel's like, yeah, you should maybe consider walking away. And some big guy's like, I really don't think I need to walk away. And I would just start laughing because I'm like, ha, you dumb piece of shit. You don't know what's coming.
Yeah, he's definitely going to die.
So throughout this whole movie, there's, people like, oh shit. And I'm just like, my loud ass laughter. And Vince is just next to me going like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah.
And I'm like, so many things, Vince. Don't make me explain. Then I'll be talking through the movie too.
Right. So I'm sorry, I have not heard your podcast here. So we discuss the movies?
Yeah, it's called P.O. Vincent. I am not Vincent.
Right.
We do 3 segments each week. The first segment is movie news, and then the second segment is something rotating. Like this last week, we discussed the 48-hour film project that just took place in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
It actually... everyone that took place had their films screened at the Oakmont in the Oaks yesterday and on Friday. Are you familiar with the 48-hour film project?
I've heard of it, but I'm not. I don't know the details. You wanna lay it down?
This
for
is
me?
just an hour of me nerding out about all.
Love it. I love it. I'm having a great time.
Are you or are we actually the same person?
Well,
is this just
that's
a Chuck
for the
Palahniuk
audience.
novel?
That's for the audience. It's Palahniuk, but that's for the audience to ponder. As what I discussed this with you on several occasions in the last since I started
you were worried.
in April.
You were like, well, people tell the difference.
I was worried. I was wondering how I could turn it into like an hour-long bit, which I think it's just doing naturally, which was what I kind of figured it would do. But on close examination, I haven't had any alcohol today, and I don't think you have either, and we're just sitting here talking. I can hear a difference in our voices. I just don't know if that's just because it's me, though.
There's a difference, but also, like, we do have similar voices, but you sound more like if we were stoned, and I sound like if we were on coke.
Oh, all right.
Like there's a couple other different. I would say that's the main thing.
But I mean, I am stoned. Are you on coke?
No, but when I'm not stoned, which I'm not right now, people think I'm on uppers.
Yeah, you are a pretty high energy guy.
Yeah. So the 48-hour film project is
coming back around.
It is this international art project / competition, and it started years back now. It goes on in cities all over the world, and what happens in each city where it takes place, and it doesn't happen in every city the same week. It like goes on throughout the year, but in the city
it bounces around the country.
The Pittsburgh one was 2 weeks ago. There's probably one going on somewhere in the country this week. And what happens is the winners from all of those go to Filmapalooza, which I think is in LA now. It's normally on the West Coast. It was in Portland some years ago. In fact, the group that I take part with is Falling October Productions, and there's an online version, which I don't fully understand how that works, but you can essentially do it at any point in the year, and Falling October Productions got picked to be within the top 16 in the world, and representatives from our team flew out to LA earlier this year, and we ended up winning Best Musical Theme, I believe.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, kudos to fucking Julian Cox and Matthew Andreassi. Julian Cox is a local musician and DJ as well as a music producer.
Right.
I think his studio is Hotbox Studios.
I don't know. But congratulations to him for winning a competition. That's fantastic.
If you're looking to record stuff, hit him up. He's a great dude. But so the way the 48-hour works in the localized city ones, your team sign up ahead of time, and then at 6 o'clock on Friday, everyone meets up at a predetermined starting point.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens is each team draws a genre.
Okay.
It's like action, adventure, horror, mystery, drama, western, musical, and I think it used to be you could pick, and if you didn't like your genre, then you could get a wild card genre. I think the way they do it now is each ticket actually you have a choice of two.
Right.
But so you get your genre, and then after everyone gets their genre, they announce a character. They can be whatever gender, but it'll be like Marsha or Marcus Dupre, who is a veterinarian.
Okay.
And then there'll be a prop like headphones,
Yeah.
and then there will be a line of dialogue like, "Do we have the same voice?" And you have to use. You now have 48 hours to use all three of those aspects in a movie of the genre that you picked.
Wow.
A 4 to 7 minute film, and it is a bunch of fun. Very little sleep.
Oh my God.
Some stress, but good stress.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it sounds exciting. It sounds stressful, but it does sound exciting. If I mean, you already have a crew together, right? And everybody knows what's going to happen, or do you scramble for actors?
So that depends on your organization level. Most of the
I'm
independent.
highly organized. I always, all right. I'm sorry, I interrupted.
No, you're fine. I just knew you were lying because you're a stand-up comedian.
No, I'm extremely well organized and anal. I'm just
really,
I'm just messy. It doesn't look like organization.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got you. You've got like that autistic organization.
Yeah. Well, it's like
it's like autistic idiot savant organization.
Yeah, I mean, look. I'm messy, and there's
like the
piles
physicist
of stuff.
who's got a beard and hasn't showered for 3 days, but is like, the formula of pi is blah blah blah.
Yeah. It's like I have this thing
blueberries and butter
2 months ahead of time, and have really strategic backups, but. Anyway,
no, well played on the back. Yeah,
I mean,
props.
That was just like me remembering a conversation or two. All right, being in a jam and being like, oh, I can totally. I think this will work. And I'm really happy you came. I'm honored to have you on. I'm having a great time.
Solid problem solving skills. We got to go to another commercial.
Nah, we don't. So I cut you off. What are we talking about?
The 48-hour film project. So most of the teams have them pre-assembled. Everyone who's involved has to sign a waiver, like saying, I was involved, yada yada.
Yeah.
But Falling October Productions has been doing it for years. So ahead of time, we had our crew, writing team, a cadre of actors to pick from ready, and most of the local indie filmmakers take part in this every year.
Wow.
It is worth checking out. And if you're like, Eric, it just happened. They just played this week. How do we do that? Well, it just so happens, fine viewer, that not only is there a regular 48
I'm sorry.
person who's tuning in on the audio station.
All right, go
Fuck
on.
you, Scott.
Yeah, I know.
Who might also be me.
Or vice versa, more likely.
The regular one takes place normally the second weekend in July, but Pittsburgh also now has the Horror 48, which goes on in October.
So there's not a question about the genre.
There's all sorts of subgenres.
All right.
A couple years ago, Falling October Productions, we got runner-up for a film called Inner Demons, in which our choice of genres were exorcism, possession, or dark horror comedy.
Oh, that's nice. Did you do dark horror comedy?
So we started trying to do exorcism, possession,
right.
Seriously, but we hit a wall in the script we couldn't get over, so then we audibled to a dark horror comedy about someone who is possessed by a demon and shows up to an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting because they misconstrued a flyer that said, come get rid of your inner demons.
Well, it sounds hilarious and it makes a lot of sense.
You can find it on YouTube. It's fantastic. Also, you get to watch me die, which is a highlight for so many people.
Oh, that's fantastic.
I mean, gosh, I guess if the piece of shit boss who fired me and said awful things to me is watching this, he can YouTube that and be like, I wish this could happen in real life.
Yeah, well, let's hope not. Yeah.
Let's not give my address now that we've said I live in Millville.
Yeah, well, Millville's a big town.
And not really. It's 0.68 of a square mile. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
All right. Well, I mean, it's big enough. it's big enough that if someone should try to murder you, it'll be too hard to find you.
It's fine. There are so many breweries. I just look like the other hipsters
man.
who love craft brew.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Blend in with the hipsters.
Yep.
There you go.
I got to just gel my hair up and part it in some to the side one way.
Yeah. Get a mustache.
Yeah, a little bit of the bell bar, the bell curl, the barber shop. What's it called?
Oh, like when they're twisted up at the end?
Yeah.
Curly cues?
That is not what it's called at all.
You don't think?
Anyway, no, it's definitely not the curly Q. Why would you get curly Q out of that?
I'm not good with labels, man.
SJWs must love you.
Who?
Social Justice Warriors, because you're not good. It was a bad joke because if you're not good with labels and you don't stereotype.
Oh yeah. I don't do it. No, I'm not. Yeah, this is definitely not me. Yeah. So let me ask you some real basic stuff in these last 10 minutes here, man. You're a comedian, obviously.
Yes.
I enjoy seeing you on stage. A lot of times you make me laugh, and it's fun to watch you bomb too, because it makes me feel better about myself. Because every time I see another comedian bomb, I remember the many, 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 many times I have.
It happens to I can't say that enough. It happens to everyone.
Everyone.
There is a guy who's well established in the city, doing well. Not going to drop the name, but I recently ran into them and they talked about some gig they had done in a place that doesn't normally have comedy, and they were just like, I have not eaten shit like that in a minute.
Well, I have to say, I love the pronoun hiding. You really are hiding this identity. I have no idea who this is.
Good on me.
Yeah. All right, you're a smart guy. You know what you're doing.
You know what? I'm just going to say yes. In fact, that's one of the things that I would say, on top of just improving as a comedian, getting funnier on and off stage. But one of the big things that I've definitely learned is how to take a compliment, especially when you don't think
that it's true.
yes.
Yeah, no, that's hard. I'm terrible at compliments. I'm much better at taking insults. Actually, I'm terrible at taking insults too.
At this point, if someone says good set, just be like, thank you.
Yeah.
Just be
Oh,
like,
yeah,
just
absolutely.
like, thank you, and nod and like shake their hand. I used to like, I would
Argue
have a
with them?
set. Surprisingly,
good.
I don't.
What?
So no, I would have a set where I like did not think when someone from the audience would be like, "Hey man, good set," and I'd be like, "Oh well, no, it wasn't, but thank you for keeping me from trying to not kill myself. I appreciate that."
Yeah, just make them feel bad for being nice. Oh no, that's great. So how long? I know you've been doing this for a minute. How long you been doing it? When did you start?
I've been doing this I started back in Cleveland about a decade ago.
Wow. What was your first gig? You're out in Cleveland. You're how old?
23. What happened is I actually I had hit a point where I had dropped out of college. I was living at home. I had been working this deli bakery job at a natural food store that I wasn't gonna rise to the top baker there.
Yeah.
And I was like, I need to figure out. So I went out to find books on how to write screenplay because I'd always loved movies and.
We really are a lot alike. What did you study in school?
Sociology and psychology.
Oh, good. A little different. Yeah.
You did English, right?
English, philosophy, psychology. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Mostly English. Well, I was trying to figure out how to be a writer, and no.
I mean, here's the key to being a writer. Right.
Well, obviously, but I mean, get better at it all the time.
I got you.
Yeah.
But so I picked up books, and one of the books was like, hey, so you should do stand-up comedy. You might be like, I didn't want to do stand-up comedy. They're like, well, that's really the best way to figure out if what you're doing is actually funny for when you write stuff.
Sure.
And I was like, that makes a lot of sense.
Oh, wow.
And there was this coffee shop at the top of my street that was like, we're doing a monthly open mic. So I went in and I asked about it. And then I ended up sleeping with the barista there.
Oh.
And then I didn't go there for a couple months. And then 3 months later, I had been trying to write jokes for months. Yeah. And then 3 hours before, I fiercely went down and wrote 5 minutes worth of jokes or 3 jokes or whatever. And then I went up and I hadn't checked out the open mic scenario ahead of time. So I ended up performing in the corner of a room with no mic in front of 4 high schoolers and 2 baristas, neither of which were the one I had slept with.
Right. Well, that sounds like an exciting way. It's a great entree into
it was the
this
beginning.
Weird,
it was the beginning. I have to say, it was nice because it didn't set my expectations high or disappointing. But no, it has been a blast. There's been ups and downs.
Yeah.
I have performed in front of small crowds, big crowds. Had times go well, have times go awful. Been paid, not paid.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm pretty happy with how things are going.
It was the best of times. It was the worst of times.
I see the growth, my understanding of how to communicate funny with an audience has gotten much better. I don't eviscerate myself in a negative way after bombs, as opposed to you're a horrible piece of shit.
Right.
It's just okay, that did not go well. Why did it not go well?
Well, that's definitely the better way to approach it. I mean, if you're just gonna beat yourself up, you're not learning anything.
But it's hard, man, because know when it doesn't go well, it can hit you hard. But again, I'm a big NBA fan.
Okay. How does that play?
Because I read all sorts of stuff about the NBA, but I remember the real pros, the All-Stars and the Hall of Famers talk about good or bad, you have to keep a level head.
Sure.
You have to work on improving.
Absolutely.
Because some nights you're going to dominate and some nights you're not.
For sure.
And you just have to keep it even keeled and always working on getting better and what you can do to improve. And in that way, they're identical.
Absolutely. I mean, even Kobe and Shaq and Jordan they lost sometimes.
Yep.
That's a great way to think about it.
And in fact, Kobe and Jordan, to make them different from Shaq was hell of a player, just a physical freak.
Yeah.
He was not the gym rat that Kobe or Jordan were.
Right.
Kobe was an amazing, almost psychopathic workaholic. He called his agent one time and was like, "I'm watching videos on cheetahs chasing their prey to try and figure out how I can utilize that into the spring of my step."
Brilliant.
Yes.
That's brilliant.
It is. But it's also psychopathic.
Well, sure. But I mean, look, man, these guys are getting paid millions of dollars to perform, and it's good to see that they take it super, super seriously.
At a certain point, like, I guess it's trying to figure out how to make obsession healthy. At the very least, he was like, "I'm watching cheetahs chase their prey to learn how to be a better player, not to chase prey of my own."
Right.
So that's good. That's good.
Oh, jeez. No, that's great. So where can we find you out in social media land?
So, actually, this coming Thursday, July 26th, I will be out at the Monroeville Doubletree for the World Series of Comedy.
Awesome.
At 8 p.m. That is a ticketed show. And then
do you know how much it is?
I believe it's $10.
Awesome. It's not too bad.
Google World Series of Comedy, not the poker one. They're completely different. And then July 29th, I will be at Full Pint Wildside Pub in Lawrenceville at 2 p.m. On August 1st, I will be hosting the Brookline Community Open Mic at the Brookline Teen Outreach just down the street, right next to the CVS on the corner of Brookline Boulevard and Pioneer. On August 4th, I will be hosting the Hambones All Ages Open Mic at 5 o'clock. That's the 4th. On August 11th, I will be at the Level Up Dance Studios Block Party show in Garfield. Myself, Danny McCavney, and some other funny comedians. On August 12th at 8 p.m., I will be doing Schrodinger's Variety Show at Hambones with Liz Tripoli. Danny Palumbo is in from out of town. There's going to the drag queen Rosacea. We've got another out-of-towner guy. Osha Dwyer will be there.
Nice.
And check me out on Twitter, Comical Edubs. If you like my stuff, send me a message and hit me up on Facebook. Eric Williams, ERICK. I will be posting a list of other stuff you can see through the coming months because I don't want to spend time here telling you 3 months worth of events that I have coming up.
Yeah, no, that's great. I'm glad that you're very busy. That's
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
It's good to be booked.
Yeah,
all right.
It is.
Yeah. Well, so Eric Williams, check him out on Facebook and Twitter.
What are you talking about? I'm Scott Israel.
I'm Scott Israel.
I'm Scott Israel.
Fine. I'm Eric Williams.
Eric Williams, it's been great to have you on the show.
Well, thank you so much, Scott Israel. So you're listening to idiotradio.net. This is Scotty Presents. I'm your host, Scott Israel. Todd DeFazio is my producer, and you've been listening to the interview of Eric Williams. Thank you.